Hey, what's up guys? It's Pager here from noobcoder.com, and in this tutorial we're going to be talking about generators and iterators in JavaScript ES6. So to get started, let's actually create a generator. Now the syntax to create a generator is pretty simplistic, so I could say function, and then I use the star and then whatever the name that I want to name the generator. So I'm just going to name it range, and then here I can use a keyword called yield. Now yield has to be used within the scope of the generator. So you can only use yield within the generator itself. And then you would say yield and then the value. So I could say 1, I could say yield 2, and I could say yield 3. Now, in order to actually use this generator, you would just execute it like a regular function. So if I go down here and type range, this is actually going to return a generator object. So let's actually print this out to the console. And now if I save this, head over to Chrome, hit refresh, you can see that we get our range function being executed, and you can see that this is a generator object. Well, now you might be wondering, how do I actually get the values that are within my range function? So how do I get the value of 1, 2, and 3? And you have to iterate through this generator object. So one way to do it is I could actually declare a variable, iterable, iterator, and then I could say range, and here I can say iterator.next. So now if I print this out to the console, watch what we get. So now if I just save this, head over to Chrome, execute, you can see that we do get the value of 1, and then done is a flag that basically says, hey, is there any more values to iterate through? And this is going to say false, so that means, hey, there are more yields within this generator. And you can see that it stopped right here. So at yield 1, this is where it stopped at. Now, if I was to print this out again, and let's add these semicolons at the end, and now save it, head over to Chrome, execute it, you can see that we get value 2, done, false. So basically it remembers the state. I could jump in and out of this generator function, and whenever I call next, it knows where I left off. So this is pretty useful, but this calling .next manually really isn't useful. So how would I iterate through this iterator? Well, I could use something called the for of loop. So I could say for, and I could say let I of iterator. And then I could just print out the value of I. So if I save this, head over to Chrome, refresh, you can see that we get all the values printed out. Now let's say that you don't like the for of loop for whatever reason. Well, we can actually comment this out. And instead of using the for of loop, we can actually use the spread operator. So I could just say console.log, and I could say ... iterator. And now if I save this, head over to Chrome, execute it, you can see that the spread operator goes ahead and gets us our values 1, 2, and 3. And I'll give you guys one more example of how to iterate through this. So if I head over to my editor, and let's actually comment this out. And let's say I wanted to use a while loop. So first thing I need to do is get the first object or the first value from this iterator. So I could say let item be iterator.next. And then I could say while, and then we are testing if done is equal to false. So I could say while item.done is equal to false, keep executing this code. So I could console.log, what's it called? Item. And then I could say item is equal to iterator.next. So now if I save this and execute it, you can see that it iterates through our iterator. So now that we got the basics out of the way and we know how to iterate through our generators, so let's actually give a more interesting example. Now this is going to be a very basic example, but it'll at least be more interesting than the current example that we have. So I have a range, so I have a start and I have a finish. And let's say that I want from 1 to 10. So how would I do this? Well, let's say I wanted to print out each value. So I could say start is less than or equal to finish. And now here I can say yield start plus plus. So now if I was to save this, head over to Chrome, execute it, you can see that our generator works perfectly fine. So what's happening here? Well, remember, generators save the state. So start starts off at 1. I say next, so that's the starting point, 1. When every time I say next, the state gets remembered. So it remembers, hey, start's value is 2 now, and then etc. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and you keep going on from there. So pretty much the basic takeaway point is that generator functions remember the state, and you could jump in and out of it. So you could keep pausing it, you could start it again, and you just can't do that with regular functions.